and welcome to the Global Dialogue. I'm Shireen Bhan, and today we're in conversation with the CEO of SAP, Klein. SAP is, of course, headquartered here in Bengaluru. That's where they run their India operations from. And the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, who was here in India meeting with Prime Minister Modi, decided to pay a visit to the Bengaluru facility. Joining me now to talk about SAP's plans for India as well as the global outlook is Klein, the CEO of the company. Christian, thanks very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. Appreciate your time. Let me start by talking to you about your plans here in India. As I mentioned, the German Chancellor visited the Bengaluru facility. It's 25 years for SAP's R&D facility here in India. Talk us through where things currently stand for you and how important India is for SAP going forward.
Very important, Shireen, and actually, for a lot of German companies, including SAP, India is the place to be. And first of all, what we see and where we are very optimistic about is about the future growth of the economy in India. So we see further acceleration. We see further investments also coming from Germany to India. Of course, in the tech space, but also in other industries like manufacturing. And we talked to Prime Minister Modi and to other people from the government about how can we, further simplify the ease of doing business here in India. And technology plays a key role, of course, when it comes to reach the sustainability goals of India, to further reshuffle the supply chains, to help especially small and mid-sized enterprises from India to actually expand their business. And so these were the main focus areas. So the German delegation left India very excited.
You said the German delegation left India very excited and that you did bring up issues like the ease of doing business with the Prime Minister. But let me ask you to specifically address which are the sectors that you believe we could see incremental or fresh investments coming in. Technology, of course, is a sector that you're confident about. But outside of that, were there any specific areas where you believe we can see this partnership build on?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in India, and I can share with you two reasons. So first of all, we see a great talent pool, of course, in the tech space, but also in other industries like manufacturing. And I'm convinced that there will be further investments coming also from Germany to the Indian economy in industries like manufacturing. Because when you look at the geopolitical tensions, a lot of companies these days, they are looking into how to redesign, how to reshuffle their supply chains. And a lot of these companies, also from the manufacturing space, they're looking into India because they see the economy, they see the growth here, they see the talent pool in India. So I'm sure there will be, industries like manufacturing, chemical. So there will be further industries now coming to India, and that will be very beneficial for the economy here in India.
Well, let's then talk about SAP's plans for India specifically, Christian. It's been a 25-year journey here in India. You've set up one of your largest R&D hubs in Bengaluru. So what can we expect now, both in terms of hiring, in terms of incremental investments, in terms of the kind of work that you will be doing out of India?
Now, look, our lab here in India is leading many products in our portfolio, core products of our portfolio, ERP, supply chain, sustainability. And we are engaging also with a lot of customers from India to make sure that we are offering them the transparency around ESG, how to move to circular economy, how to reach their sustainability goals. And I really love to see that our lab here in Bengaluru is really engaging with our customers so closely. And there will be further responsibilities which we will shift to India because, again, the talent pool here is so big. We will also double down our investments on the go-to-market side. I mean, last year we have seen triple-digit growth in the cloud here in India. And these are all the right ingredients, of course, also to shift further investments here to India.
If you can quantify that for us, you said that you hope to double down on your investments here in India. The cloud business has seen triple-digit growth. But if you can quantify the size of the current India opportunity and what you believe this could look like for SAP in the next few years.
I mean, there is no doubt that we want to triple our business in the next 2 years. So the pipeline looks very strong. We see so many unicorns coming out of India. We see so many large enterprises from India who have to transform now. Yeah, we have customers like Tata, Mahindra and Mahindra, where we are engaging on very, very closely to transform their business, to work on the supply chain, to make them more resilient, and again, to also work on the green line on sustainability. And this is where technology plays a key role. From an investment perspective, we now already operate our cloud business here in India. We will double down on our cloud infrastructure. We will grow the size of our business here, also people related. So we have currently around about 15,000 people, and also this, the size of our population here will grow by a significant amount in the years to come.
Okay. Are you also looking at acquisitions here in India? You talked about startups and unicorns, and there are many playing in the SaaS space. Anything looking exciting to you at this point in time? Anything that is on the radar for you?
Yeah, I mean, we have a very, very successful startup acceleration program here in India, and we are helping these startups here in India to grow with SAP. Yeah, to helping them, giving them access to our customers, to giving them, money, to giving them expertise in development, to integrate them to the SAP products. And we see already that some of these startups are growing heavily. And at a certain point of time, who knows? Yeah, today we partner. Tomorrow there could be also acquisitions here in India, absolutely. So we are very, very excited to see. And by the way, our Chancellor looked at the startup community here in India, and he also was very, very impressed about the ambition of many startups here in the country.
You know, Christian, let me move away from India for a little bit and talk to you about the global story at this point in time. And there is caution, on global growth and uncertainty as far as the macroeconomic headwinds are concerned. Your peer Salesforce has decided not to give out a guidance. You, of course, have held out a guidance. But how does the global economy shape up at this point in time? How confident are you feeling about your own business today?
I mean, we are very confident about our own business here in India, but also across the world. Of course, the exit of Russia was, of course, a headwind last year, but this is now behind. And we see many, many countries where we see many, our pipeline also growing. And now for us, it's very key to foster and to build on that pipeline. And then on the economy side, I'm actually see with the rising geopolitical tensions throughout the world and between the US and China, I guess, India will also see further investments, from other countries now, in the country. Yeah? So to your point early on that further industries will invest in India because a lot of companies now try to diversify their supply chain, which will be to the benefit of India. And our portfolio, again, is very relevant for transforming enterprises, for the supply chain, and for sustainability.
So, Christian, do you believe that you are still on track as far as your 2023 guidance is concerned? And more importantly, the 2025 targets that SAP has set out, where you expect revenues of over 36 billion euros, cloud revenue of over 22 billion euros, that's a 21% CAGR growth, operating profit of 11.5 billion euros, which is a 13% CAGR growth. Do you believe that you will be able to get to the target set out by 2025?
We are very, very confident with regard to our targets for this year and also with regard to our midterm targets for 2025, because the pipeline looks super strong. Companies are seeing how relevant our technology is, and the innovation coming out of our labs, especially here in India, is super strong. So we are very excited about the years ahead. And yes, Shireen, we are very, very confident to even overachieve our guidance, which is currently out there in the market for 2025.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're saying that you could perhaps even better the targets that you've set out for 2025. But will that largely be driven on account of organic growth, or are you also factoring in some degree of M&A push to be able to better that number? You've been fairly acquisitive. There's been a bunch of acquisitions that you've done, from 2008 currently to currently. Is that going to be key as far as your strategy is concerned?
Look, the last 2 years in SAP was an organic success story, and our guidance, which is out there for 2025, is built purely on organic growth. Every acquisition SAP could do in the future, would just add further, revenue and profit on top. And again, when our chancellor here saw yesterday the innovations around e-mobility, about turning to green hydrogen, where technology of SAP plays a key role, how to help businesses, small and mid-sized businesses here in India, to conquer the world, and how essential our software for that is, that actually just shows, that we have a very, very strong organic innovation pipeline as well. So, no, our guidance is purely built on organic growth.
Okay, guidance built purely on organic growth. Since we are talking about the global outlook, and what we are seeing across the tech sector at this point in time is significant amount of right-sizing, downsizing, scaling back. While you are looking at upping your investments here in India as well as your headcount, what about globally, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, of course, as as a software company, as every company out there, you have the ongoing obligation to always, focus on where is SAP winning? What is the core of our business? Where do customers see us in the future? And there are many areas. I mean, we are winning in ERP, in supply chain, in HR, in intelligent spend. But you also have to always then make sure you have the focus exactly on these areas. And for the other areas, you want to also take, strong partners. And we have a strong ecosystem here in India, so where we are scaling down our investments and betting on our ecosystem. And again, I'm meeting a lot of Indian partners in the next days. I'm very excited about also the support of the ecosystem here in the country. And then, of course, in the areas where we are winning, and I just mentioned them, there we will double down. There we will invest. There we will also invest big time here in India.
So, you've said that SAP is far more resilient today than ever. Would that then mean that you're not looking at any kind of downsizing, layoffs, etc. at this point in time?
Yeah, we did a smaller restructuring in some parts of our portfolio, again, where products are not, in the core of our portfolio. There we did a small restructuring this year, but this is not performance related at all. And now we, of course, want to also invest into the area. So it's about focusing. It's about, reducing investments in areas where, products are not in the core business of SAP, where they're betting on partner solutions in that area, also coming from India. And then, again, doubling down on the investments, in the areas where SAP is winning. And our market is so big. I mentioned already the categories where we are playing in. So there is enough market to also see accelerated growth in the years to come. So we are very confident. But it's always, you always have to look at the two sides of the medal on how to focus and where you're going to focus. There you have to invest.
Christian, speaking of an India connection, there's a new India connection for SAP. The co-founder and chairman, Hasso Plattner, will retire in May 2024. And Puneet Ranjan, the former global CEO of Deloitte, comes on board. Have you engaged with Puneet already?
Yeah, of course. Also in the past. I mean, we know each other pretty well. Deloitte is one of our largest partners, and Puneet and I had a very, very good working relationship in the past. Puneet is very well regarded, of course, here in India, but throughout the world. And we, all the people of SAP, are very, very happy to have him on board. And again, that's another sign. Now, our biggest lab, our biggest R&D center is in India. The chairman will come from India. And so we are very, very excited about the years ahead with Puneet as our chairman.
Well, Christian, it's been an absolute pleasure. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC-TV18 to take us through your plans for India and, more importantly, your outlook for growth. Thanks very much, and we wish you and the team the very best of luck.
Thanks for having me, Shireen. All the best.
Well, we will take a break here on the Global Dialogue and come back with a lot more. Don't go anywhere. We're back in a minute. Stay tuned.
Dr. Hatchett, thank you very much for joining in. Well, I want to start this conversation by asking you about COVID-19 vaccines. The cases have reduced, but there seems to be now a surplus of vaccines as well. What is the status across countries?
Well, we are seeing that the supply challenges that we faced before have really been addressed. The demand has declined somewhat, but there is still demand for COVID vaccines. My organization, SAP SE, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, we think we continue to need better vaccines, vaccines that can prevent transmission and ideally protect against not just the COVID that we have now, but the COVID that evolves in the future.
But do you think that people are now taking forward COVID vaccines? And, from a company perspective, do you think that it will probably become something which will be an annual dose as well? It has been spoken about, but not really fructified till now.
Well, commercial demand for COVID vaccines has declined from its peak, probably a year ago or so. So the drivers for vaccine development now, I think, is going to require continued public sector investment. We've got a program that we're funding where we have allocated around $230 million to develop what we're calling broadly protective coronavirus vaccines. These would be vaccines that protect against COVID, but also against SARS and MERS and other coronaviruses.
You mentioned the next or the evolution of COVID-19. Can you elaborate? Are we expecting it to probably expecting another wave, maybe another mutation?
Well, the vaccines that we have are really, really good at preventing severe disease and death, which is important, but they aren't preventing transmission. And so there's still a lot of COVID circulating, and every new case of COVID presents an opportunity to the virus to mutate and evolve. So we're seeing continued evolution of the virus. Every year with flu, for example, the flu virus continues to mutate, and over time it will migrate away from the human immune response or from the vaccines that we have. So we have to update the vaccines. I think that's what we're anticipating likely to be the case with COVID as we continue to live with this virus in future years.
COVID-19 also taught us that, for example, India, as well as other countries and companies, have the ability to get to market a successful product or drug which can treat many people as well. Is that what we can expect, that maybe there can be an acceleration of innovation from what we've seen in COVID?
Well, I think the response to COVID, changed our understanding of how quickly we could develop vaccines. What we used to think would take about 10 years, we actually compressed to under a year. I would love to see the innovations that we evolved to respond to COVID being applied to the development of vaccines for other applications so that we can speed up the tempo of innovation.
Lastly, what would your plans for India be?
Well, we're here. This is the first time we've been able to visit India since the pandemic began. So we've got a lot of catching up to do. We have a lot of partners here. But it's also a wonderful time to visit India because of India's leadership of the G20. And India has put health security and thinking about how we respond to future pandemics pretty high on their agenda. So we're having an interesting set of discussions both with our government and our industry partners.
All right, Dr. Hatchett, thank you very much for joining in and speaking with CNBC-TV18.